Listen up, because what I'm about to tell you might completely change how you see yourself. Right now, as you're watching this, there's probably a woman, maybe multiple women, who's been thinking about you. And I don't mean in a casual way. I mean, she's been replaying conversations you've had, wondering what you're doing right now, creating little scenarios in her head about running into you again. The crazy part? You have absolutely no idea. See, here's what most guys don't understand about attraction. You think women are attracted to the loudest guy in the room, the one with the flashiest car, or the guy who's obviously trying to get everyone's attention. But that's not how female psychology actually works. Women are secretly obsessing over a completely different type of man. And if you're watching this video, there's a good chance you might be him. I'm talking about the guy who doesn't even realize he's attractive. The one who's not trying to impress anyone. The man who just exists in his own space, completely comfortable, completely authentic, and completely unaware that half the women around him are secretly hoping he'll notice them. And here's the thing that's going to blow your mind. These women aren't just attracted to you. They're intimidated by you. They're nervous around you. They're creating entire fantasy relationships with you in their heads. And you're walking around thinking you're just a regular guy. So let me ask you something, and be honest with yourself as I go through these signs. How many of these sound like you? Because if even 3 of these resonate, I guarantee there are women in your life right now who are secretly hoping you'll make a move. Sign 1. Women get nervous around you. And you think they're just being weird. Let me paint you a picture. You walk into a room, could be work, could be a party, could be the gym, and you notice something. That woman you've talked to a few times suddenly gets a little flustered when she sees you. Maybe she touches her hair, maybe her voice gets slightly higher, maybe she seems to lose her train of thought for a second. You probably think she's just having an awkward day, right? Wrong. She's nervous because you affect her. Your presence literally changes her brain chemistry, and she's trying to play it cool while internally freaking out that you're there. She's been thinking about you since the last time you talked, and now that you're actually standing in front of her, her body is betraying her by making it obvious. But here's what's really happening in her head. She's running through a dozen different scenarios. Should she start a conversation? What should she say? Does she look okay? Did you notice her? Are you going to talk to her? She's simultaneously hoping you will and terrified that you will because she doesn't trust herself not to say something stupid. You see this as normal social interaction, maybe even think she's a little strange or scattered. But what's really happening is that you're her secret crush, and being around you makes her feel like a teenager again. The confident, put-together woman everyone else sees completely melts when you're around, and she's desperately trying to hide it. This is happening because you possess something most men don't. You're genuinely attractive without trying to be. You're not performing or putting on an act, which makes you unpredictable and exciting. She can't figure you out completely, and that mystery is driving her crazy in the best way possible. Pay attention next time. Are there women who seem perfectly normal around everyone else, but get a little weird around you? That's not coincidence. That's attraction mixed with intimidation, and it's one of the clearest signs that you're someone's secret obsession. Sign 2. You catch women staring, then they quickly look away. This one's huge, and most guys completely miss it. You're at work, at a coffee shop, at the gym, wherever, and you get that feeling like someone's watching you. You look up and catch a woman looking at you, but the moment your eyes meet, she immediately looks away. Sometimes with a little smile, sometimes looking embarrassed. You probably think it's nothing. Maybe you had something on your face, maybe she was spacing out, maybe it was just a coincidence. But let me tell you what's really happening. She was studying you. She was taking in how you move, how you carry yourself, what you're doing. She's been wanting to look at you for a while, and she thought she could do it without you noticing. When you caught her, she's panicked because she doesn't want you to know she's interested. Yet. Here's the psychology behind it. Women are much more visual than society gives them credit for. They check out men constantly, but they're way more subtle about it than men are. When a woman is repeatedly looking at you when she thinks you won't notice, it means you're visually appealing to her in a way that goes beyond casual interest. But there's another layer here. She's not just looking at you because you're attractive. She's trying to figure you out. She's studying your expressions, your body language, how you interact with others. She's building a mental profile of who you are because she's genuinely curious about you as a person. The fact that she looks away when caught tells you something important. She cares what you think. If she didn't find you attractive or intimidating, she'd either hold eye contact or not care if you noticed her looking. But she looks away because being caught makes her feel vulnerable, like you might see her interest and reject it. This is happening more than you realize. Start paying attention to your peripheral vision. Notice if the same women seem to be looking in your direction multiple times during a conversation or social gathering. That's not accidental. That's a secret crush trying to get her fill of looking at you without making it obvious. Sign 3. They remember everything you say and bring it up. Weeks later. This one's going to make you think back to recent conversations. Has a woman ever brought up something you mentioned weeks or even months ago? Something you barely remember saying? Something that seemed casual or unimportant to you? You probably thought she just had a good memory. But let me tell you what's really happening. She's been thinking about that conversation. She's been replaying it, analyzing it, remembering every detail because interactions with you matter to her in a way they don't with other people. When you're someone's secret crush, everything you say carries weight. That funny story you told about your weekend? She's been thinking about it and wondering what other stories you have. That opinion you shared about something random? She's been considering it and maybe even changed her own perspective based on what you said. Here's the deeper psychology. When women are attracted to someone, they unconsciously collect information about that person. They remember your preferences, your sense of humor, your values, your goals. Not because they're stalking you, but because their brain has categorized you as important and is therefore filing away everything related to you. You mentioned you love Italian food. 3 weeks later, she suggests an Italian restaurant for a group dinner. You say you're thinking about taking up hiking, and suddenly she's asking if you've found any good trails yet. You complain about being tired, and she remembers and asks how you're feeling the next time she sees you. This level of attention to detail isn't normal friendship behavior. It's what happens when someone is emotionally invested in you. She's building a mental database of who you are because she's hoping to use that information to connect with you on a deeper level. Most guys miss this completely because they're not paying attention to what women remember versus what they forget. But if you notice that certain women seem to have photographic memories when it comes to things you've said, that's not a coincidence. That's a secret crush taking mental notes. Sign 4. They find excuses to be around you, but make it seem casual. This sign is all about patterns, and most men never notice the pattern because each individual incident seems random. But step back and look at the bigger picture. Is there a woman who just seems to show up wherever you are? She's at the coffee shop you go to every morning, but she never used to be. She joins the group hangouts you're part of, even though she used to be too busy for social events. She takes the long way back to her desk, so she passes by yours. She volunteers for projects you're working on. She asks questions that could easily be answered by someone else, but she comes to you instead. Each individual instance has a perfectly reasonable explanation. She lives nearby, so of course she'd be at that coffee shop. She's finally making time for friends, which is why she's at group events. She's taking initiative at work, which explains the project volunteering. But when you add it all up, there's a pattern. Here's what's really happening. She's strategically putting herself in your orbit because she wants more opportunities to interact with you, but she doesn't want to make it obvious. She's creating natural situations where conversation can happen without it seeming forced or desperate. The psychology behind this is fascinating. Women are typically more socially aware than men, so they're better at creating opportunities that seem casual and unplanned. She's not going to directly ask you to hang out because that would reveal her interest and make her vulnerable to rejection. Instead, she's going to increase the chances of accidentally running into you. Pay attention to this. Are there women who seem to appear in your life more frequently than statistics would suggest? Women who always seem to need help with things you're good at? Women who join activities or go to places they know you frequent? This isn't stalking, this is strategic proximity. She's hoping that by being around you more, you'll start to notice her as more than just a casual acquaintance. She's betting that familiarity and repeated positive interactions will eventually lead to you seeing her as relationship material. The fact that she's making this effort while trying to keep it subtle means you're worth the investment to her. She's rearranging her schedule and changing her routines because spending time around you is that important to her. Sign 5. They ask personal questions but frame them as casual conversation. Here's where it gets really interesting. You're having what seems like a normal conversation, but somehow it keeps turning to personal topics. She's asking about your family, your background, your goals, your past relationships. But she's doing it in a way that feels natural and conversational rather than like an interrogation. You probably think she's just a naturally curious person or really good at making conversation. But there's something much deeper happening here. When a woman is secretly crushing on you, she wants to understand you on a level that goes beyond surface interaction. She's trying to figure out what makes you tick, what your values are, what kind of person you're compatible with. These aren't random questions, they're strategic information gathering disguised as friendly interest. Listen to the questions she asks versus the questions she asks other people. With you, she wants to know about your dreams, your fears, your family dynamics, your relationship history. With others, she sticks to safe topics like work and weather. The difference in depth is a dead giveaway that you're special to her. But here's the really telling part. She remembers your answers and follows up on them later. She asks how your mom's surgery went 3 weeks after you mentioned it. She remembers that you're thinking about changing careers and asks about your progress. She brings up your college stories and asks for more details. This level of personal interest serves multiple purposes. First, she's trying to determine compatibility. Are you someone she could actually have a relationship with? Second, she's creating intimacy through shared information. The more you tell her about yourself, the closer she feels to you. And third, she's positioning herself as someone who truly knows and understands you. The questions might seem casual, but pay attention to the pattern. Is she asking things that would help her understand what kind of partner you'd be? Is she trying to figure out your relationship status without directly asking? Is she gathering information that would help her connect with you on shared interests or values? Most men answer these questions without realizing what's happening. They think they're just having a friendly conversation. But what's really happening is that she's building a case for why you two would be perfect together. And she's gathering evidence to support that case. The psychology behind secret crushes. Why this happens. Now that we've covered the signs, let me explain why this happens and why you might be completely oblivious to it. Understanding the psychology behind secret crushes will help you recognize when you're someone's hidden obsession. First, women are socialized to be less direct about romantic interest than men. While men are taught to pursue what they want, women are often taught to wait to be chosen. This creates a dynamic where women develop feelings and attraction, but express them in subtle, indirect ways that most men completely miss. Second, the men who become secret crushes typically possess a specific combination of traits that create what psychologists call optimal distance. You're approachable enough to seem attainable, but mysterious enough to remain interesting. You're kind enough to feel safe, but independent enough to represent a challenge. This combination is incredibly rare and incredibly attractive. Most men are either too eager, which kills mystery, or too aloof, which kills approachability. But you've naturally found the sweet spot that makes women want to get closer while being unsure if they can. Third, secret crushes often develop on men who seem relationship material rather than just fun for now. Women can sense when a man has his life together, treats people well, and would be a good long-term partner. This makes them think beyond just physical attraction to actual relationship potential. But here's the key insight. The reason these crushes stay secret is often because women assume you're either taken or out of their league. Your natural confidence and the way you carry yourself makes them think you probably have plenty of options, so they convince themselves they don't have a chance. This creates a fascinating dynamic where the more attractive you are as a person, the less likely women are to openly express interest, because they assume you're already spoken for or wouldn't be interested in them specifically. What this means for you and what to do about it. If you're recognizing yourself in these signs, first understand what a rare position you're in. Most men spend their entire lives trying to become the type of person that women naturally gravitate toward. You've achieved this without even trying, which means it's authentic and sustainable. But being someone's secret crush isn't always helpful if you're actually interested in dating. The same qualities that make you attractive can also make you seem unapproachable. Women might be waiting for you to make the first move because they don't want to risk the embarrassment of being rejected by someone they perceive as high value. Here's what you can do with this information. Start paying attention to the subtle signs. Notice which women seem nervous around you. Remember details about your conversations.
Completely unfazed.
Or find reasons
you're
to be in
over
your
here
proximity.
refreshing
Your messages every 5 minutes. These are the women who are already interested but are waiting for some kind of signal from you. You don't have to change who you are. Your authenticity is exactly what makes you attractive. But you might need to be more intentional about showing interest when you feel it. A simple, "Would you like to grab coffee sometime?" to someone who's showing these signs will probably be met with enthusiastic agreement. Remember, being someone's secret crush is a position of power, but it's also a responsibility. These women are putting themselves in vulnerable positions by creating opportunities to interact with you. Be kind, be aware, and be genuine in your responses. The most attractive thing about men who become secret crushes is that they're not trying to be anyone's crush at all. They're just living their lives authentically, treating people well, and being comfortable in their own skin. This authenticity is magnetic because it's so rare. If you recognize these signs in your life, understand that you possess something valuable: the ability to create genuine attraction without effort or manipulation. This isn't about pickup techniques or strategies. It's about being the kind of person others naturally want to be around. Don't let this knowledge go to your head, but don't ignore it either. Being aware of your effect on others can help you be more intentional about the connections you want to pursue while remaining respectful of those you don't. The women who develop secret crushes on you aren't just attracted to your looks or status. They're attracted to your character, your energy, and the way you make them feel. That's the kind of attraction that leads to meaningful relationships rather than superficial encounters. Keep being yourself, keep treating people well, and keep living authentically. These qualities will continue to make you attractive throughout your entire life, regardless of age, appearance, or circumstances. That's the real power of being someone's secret crush, is based on who you are, not what you have. And remember, somewhere right now, there's probably a woman thinking about you, hoping you'll notice her, and wondering if she'll ever have the courage to let you know how she feels. The question is, are you paying enough attention to notice?